G'day guys, how are ya? Hope you're all having a fantastic whatever time of day it is in your part of the world. Here in Australia it's really cold in the evening, -2 degrees Celsius, so I know for people in Europe and the Northern Hemisphere that's not too cold, but for us in the Southern Hemisphere that's really cold. So before I go to bed I thought I would share a review. I don't know why I talked about the weather, it had nothing to do with this video, but anyway, I like to complain. This movie is from a very cold part of the world, Russia. Russian language, English subtitles. Not many people talk about Russian films, which is a shame. It's a drama, released in 2010, directed by Alexei Popogrebsky, and this movie is called How I Ended This Summer. And the story to this one is as follows. Russian heartthrob Grigory Dobrygin stars as Pavel, a young graduate posted to a remote meteorological station over the summer months. His gruff, non-communicative co-worker Sergei takes pride in his repetitive work and is rattled by Pavel's youthful carelessness and complacency. But the two go about their shared day-to-day lives with heavy dose of mutual distrust. But when Pavel receives a gravely urgent radio message that out of panic, fear and intimidation he fails to pass on, he inadvertently triggers a series of events that spin horribly out of control. So the film stars two characters. Now these characters are working at this meteorological site in the far tip of eastern Russia. And it's an extremely cold and unforgiving place. Now their job is to take down a study. They're researching the radioactive qualities in this area. And so their job is to basically live together and no one else is around for, it's a very isolated atmosphere. So one of them is an older Russian guy who is from the older part of Russia. His values and the way he goes about his day-to-day life is a lot different from the younger generation. And the person he's with is a younger person. He just came onto the site. He is a very careless, lazy person. And the older Russian guy, he really doesn't, he's losing patience with this guy. So there is a level of mutual distrust. And there's not much respect going on between the two. Now, tensions start to rise, personalities are starting to clash, they're getting a little bit bored of each other, but things get a little bit more complicated when Pavel, the younger guy, and Sergei is the older guy, Pavel gets a message through radio that Sergei's family have been in an accident. Now, Pavel is afraid of Sergei because he's got a bit of a temper and, as I said, he doesn't really trust him. So Pavel is very intimidated and he decides not to carry this message over to Sergei. So he really wants to hide this, and then by the time he realizes the mistake he's made, it's too late. He's left it too long. So he's worried that if he tells Sergei this message, things are going to go from bad to worse. So he's trying to hide it from him. The people on the radio want to know what his reaction was, but Pavel is trying to hide the fact that he hasn't delivered the message, and he's just really worried that Sergei is going to find out, and he's worried what Sergei may do. So from that point on, it's really a film about the humanity and the mental and psychological approach that people have in a very isolated area. So if you want to know more about this movie, you're definitely going to have to go out there and see this film for yourself. Now what I thought of this movie, this is a beautiful film. Visually this is absolutely stunning. It was shot on location in the Arctic in Russia. So it's a very cold and it's a very lonely place. And the cinematography brings a certain level of fear that is very subtle, and it's not a horror sort of fear. It's just the fear that you are the only person for so many miles. It's just absolute desolate area, and it's a very harsh area, and it's very easy to freeze to death in this kind of environment. So it's the part of the world that not many movies go to. Not many movies are shot on this location. So as far as location goes, this is a film that's pretty much worth getting just for the shots of cinematography. There are some scenes where it just feels like a picture's been taken, and then you can see the little dot where one of these gentlemen are walking, and you realise that it's not a picture that's been taken by a camera. It's in fact a real life still footage. So that is just absolutely mesmerizing as far as cinematography is concerned. It's really, really cold atmosphere, and the director really puts you in the shoes of these two, and it really does. You get cold just watching it. So the cinematography was excellent. I mean, it's second to none. Absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, though, the cinematography kind of covers over a fairly weak plot, and I just don't feel that it had a lot going on. Now, this would have been a problem if it wasn't for the acting and the script. Acting was very good. Pavel was a very interesting character. He was very different to Sergei, who was from the older generation. And their little relationship that they had, at some points it was anger between each other, at other points it was disappointment, and at other points it kind of felt like they were getting along. So that relationship was really good and very realistic, and it actually had very interesting characters which kept my attention, and it kind of forgave the fact that the plot was just a little bit weak. The script, as I said, very, very good, and the acting was excellent. They really got some good actors for this film, and it shows that the acting had to be good because there were only pretty much two characters throughout the entire length of the film. So, without interesting characters, this film would not have worked at all. So, fortunately, as far as script, as characters, and acting is concerned, it was very, very well done. But, as I said, the storyline hurts it a little bit. I mean, it probably would have benefited from a little bit more drama. There's a lot of parts of the film that kind of drag on. For me, I have a fairly decent attention span, so it didn't get out of control as far as boredom is concerned. But I can see a lot of people being bored with this film, and apart from the cinematography, that will wear thin. If you're not, if you're not into these kinds of films that are slow burning, the cinematography effect will wear off pretty quickly. So this is only for the hardcore sort of foreign film fan. It's a psychological drama. It's not a horror film, although towards the end there are thrilling elements to it, and there's a lot of tension between the characters, especially when this secret is being held from Sergei. So on that little regard, it is a sort of thriller, but it's not a movie that's going to have explosions every 2 seconds. So it's definitely not a film that I'm going to recommend for everyone. It is a beautiful film, as I said. It's beautiful looking, but unfortunately there are flaws in the film, and the flaws are the fact that the pacing, it kind of feels like the film is not really going anywhere. But fortunately, the acting, the script, and that kind of stuff help the film go along a little bit more. But for that reason that I said the negatives, I'm only going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. I'm definitely recommending it, but I'm sure a lot of people out there will not like this one very much at all. So it is a memorable film from Russia. It's a very beautiful looking movie, but as I said, it wears a little bit thin, so just be very careful going into that. Alright guys, that's my review for tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.